close to where we belong, and we're trying. And we're flying so close to where we belong, and we're trying to go somewhere new. And I try to crack this iceberg open till it shatters through the ocean. I wanna make shockwaves. I wanna make shockwaves with you. Gonna move the ocean current till the waves flood what's been burning. I wanna make shockwaves. I wanna make shockwaves with you. And I know I'm only getting higher till it feels like I can walk through fire. And I know I'm only getting higher till it feels like I can walk through fire. Trying to step back and see the view from above, 'cause I know that nothing lasts forever. And I try to crack this iceberg open till it shatters through the ocean. I wanna make shockwaves. I wanna make shockwaves with you. Gonna move the ocean current till the waves flood what's been burning. I wanna make shockwaves. I wanna make shockwaves with you. Shockwaves with you. Shockwaves with you. Shockwaves with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the single best time of the year. You can see how excited one certain individual is laughing in the background, but it is, in fact, a fantastic time to be happy indeed, because we are introducing one of the final stages of this season of EGL 3. It's fantastic to be here. I think we can all say that the community is uplifted by an event of this magnitude, and the fact that we are here for our third season is probably the best news you're going to hear today. And I gotta say, I think we have another magic set of memories to be made in the near future. Of course, today I am going to get some help talking all about it, and of course going through this fantastic hat. As is traditional in EGL, we're going to be doing a wildcard draw today to decide who will be joining our qualified teams and our invited sides in the main event for EGL 3. But for now, let's give a warm welcome to our other casters here today. Not a hero, let's start with you. You are living in the darkness. I know you've just moved, so you're having some wardrobe malfunctions there. But of course, if you look real close, you'll see one of the best analysts in the game today. Not a hero, welcome to the broadcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited. Like EGL Season 3, the last season ended up with a cracker. Looking for more highlights, looking for some more big plays, and I'm also looking for that underdog, the dark horse coming through this tournament. It's like, I can't wait. Like it needs to happen today. It needs to start right now. I know it's like we're scheduling still, but excited.
Awesome. And of course, we have to have some more people to help bolster the roster here. And we're going to introduce one of the newer faces on the block. Definitely a fantastic up-and-comer. Shaky, great to have you. Great to know that we have some new blood in the system. And of course, welcome to EGL 3.
Awesome, man. No, it's really a blessing to be here. It's been the past 2 years has been absolutely awesome. Being a part of the scene so far. I've been casting on the qualifiers and been working my way up, and it's really amazing, and it's an awesome opportunity to be able to sit here with all of you guys, having watched you guys cast a lot of Dota in the past few years. So a really big blessing to be here, man. I'm really happy to be here.
Oh, it's great to have you. I'm sure we all agree that you've done some fantastic work, and you've definitely. I think got a lot of warmth from this community and from us as well. All right, somebody who is also in a very warm, cheerful mood. You know who it is. He wears a green headset, and his name is Corny.
He's got two thumbs.
Yeah.
This guy. So it's fun. I want to get going. It was the same as last season. I'm just trippy. I'm happy. I want to get going. I want to just to skip all of this stuff, go into the games. I can't do that yet because we still got to do the draw and we still got all this stuff to talk about. And hey, the tournament has to be run from start to finish. We can't just stick to the end, which is the good part of it because you get all the bits in between. But I just want to skip to the good stuff. I want to get fun. I want to have fun. Here's the thing. I'm just a viewer that gets to be in the stream himself. I'm just having fun watching the stuff all by myself. That's how I am.
All right, well, we'll leave it at that. Welcome to the broadcast, Corny. And of course, a man I think you shouldn't have to get an introduction because everybody should know you at this point. But of course, Snare, our resident South African, working on the DPC. It's an amazing achievement. Snare, welcome to broadcast.
Hello, it's been a while actually in the South African context that I've been back for a third season, so it's pretty great. Half the time things fizzle out like season 1 or season 2, but we out here, we hype, so there's some continuity and sustainability which we love to see. So I'm happy to be here.
So I have to ask, I'm sure everyone wants to know, what is life like on the DPC? Give us some of insights into what you're busy with at the moment for those who don't know, and of course. Make us all feel good about it.
You better comment on your bromance with Lizard here at the moment. So there's a bromance going on there.
Lizard's just a really pretty guy. What must I do, man? When we're on broadcast with pretty men, there's no other option. But on the real though, the DPC experience has been pretty fun. It's been kind of exhausting to be honest because I made the mistake of signing up for multiple regions and. There was one day, to give you an example of actually what it was like. When was it? I think this was last month sometime. There was an event I was doing with the org with DNMK, and so I was at this event in the morning. First I did Chinese Dota, right? So I was casting at 6 a.m. Casted until about 12. Left home, went to do this event with DNMK. Left there at about 6. Got home at 7 to get ready for a game in South America at 8. Finished the South American game at 8. Did a North American game at midnight. Did another South American game then at 3 a.m. Went to bed and then had to be up again for Chinese Dota at 6. It was exhausting, but that's how it's been like. So For the first time in my life, for the first time ever, Halbert. Like literally, I can't believe I'm saying these words, right? But I'm kind of okay with the season of Dota being over. But it's been an amazing experience, though. So to be honest, it's been really hard.
Awesome. Well, I think we all agree that we're looking forward to seeing you at TI. I think it's inevitable from my position, and I think if you think I'm kidding, if you aren't following Snare, you really should, because this man is going places, and you don't want to sleep on it. You want to be able to say, yeah, no, I spotted him before he was famous, because that's where all the cool kids will be. But after enough love being shared with Snare, let's talk a little bit about our scene in general. So, guys, I want to start things off with the state of Dota 2 in South Africa, and we were having an interesting chat before. I know, Shake, you've been involved with the scene in particular, so I'd love to hear your thoughts and to share a little bit about Kuro Esports. And for those of you who are not familiar, this is basically a school league. Kuro, as I understand, is a group of schools, and they're coming together with I think you mentioned there were about 80 of them or something, but 80 different schools that are coming together and forming an esports league, of which Dota 2 is included amongst its ranks. So tell us a little bit more about your experience there, Shaky, and a little bit more about Kuro, if you can.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's. I think it's been a long journey. It's been about a year and a half that we've been working on. We've casted a few small events for them last year and then this year as well. So they've kind of been testing the waters, seeing how the parents and everything would work out. You know, there's a lot of logistics that goes around schools competing in esports. A lot of parents that needs to be convinced that this is actually something the kids enjoy. There's something actually constructive, and there's a lot of effort that goes in. And Kuro is taking a really good approach towards it. They've taken the time, they've invested a lot into making sure that each and every step has been put up right. They've made the important mistakes at a small scale so that when they've eventually start growing up, it's actually been quite a smooth sailing ship so far. Kuro itself is a big private school, and a part of an initiative to start becoming more part of the scene. They've contacted. Basically, there are a lot of private schools in South Africa. So they've contacted each and every single branch in the whole of the country, and they've all come together and created another section of the private school branch, which is now the Kuro Esports. And with that, they're doing inter-schools, they're doing Dota is actually their primary game that they're trying, and they're going to start branching over to everything. So as a Dota player myself, they've got taste. Yeah. And it's kind of amazing because I went to a Kuro school. I'd like to think maybe me being an alumni helped me being able to work with them. But as growing up as a student of Kuro school, I was berated for playing games on a daily basis. It was something that wasn't really allowed. And now being contacted by head office of Kuro saying, hey, do you want to play games for us? It's a nice switch.
I hope you give them a hard time.
I do. No, genuinely. Good. And I do.
Look at me now, yes. Mrs. Parsons.
Hey, I actually did meet her in town.
Listen, I'd just like to apologize to anyone who's watching the streams who happens to have the same Parsons, whose mother is a teacher. It's corny, and he does not represent the feelings of EGL. Love corny. Anyways, just to move things along a little bit, I'm actually curious about some of the other individuals on this topic as well. Now, we got some old hats in the room as well. So I'm curious. This is going to be to Snare and Norihiro at the same time, but we'll start off with Norihiro. Are you there? I can't really tell Norihiro. I just want to hear your thoughts about what you think the effect of school leagues would have in the greater scene of Dota 2. I'm thinking from maybe like feeding new players into the system, or just uplifting the skill that we have at a young age.
I think that's a massive thing. Seeing new players coming into the scene would be great, because we've got a lot of old dogs playing in the top teams in the country, and they've kind of solidified their spaces. And to see a younger generation come in and start to challenge and start to take over would be amazing. But a feeding system would be amazing. Like our country, apart from esports, when you look at any other sports, like a feeding system is like, we've got a super strong feeding system. Like if you're looking at rugby, looking at cricket, like the exposure that those guys are getting from school level on the highest possible stage is massive. And if they can start implementing the same thing with school esports and not just compete in that, like if those types of players can join tournaments, or those types of teams can join tournaments, and just from an experience perspective, I'm pretty sure a lot of the old hats would also like jump on board to help with coaching or anything. Like we've seen our top guys are more than willing to help grow the scene. I think it'll be healthy. I do still think Dota hasn't peaked from a potential perspective in our country. I think there's a lot left wanting, and it's a few things we're going to talk about a bit later. But a feeding system from schools that would be huge. Eh?
That makes sense. I mean, to actually jump on that point, you're talking about like how some of these players might not be too adverse to coaching and trying to bring up the new generation. I mean, one of the players who is on one of these teams that's super stacked, we're going to talk about them later, definitely, but he spent a large portion of last season playing on a team that he specifically was coaching, trying to bring up and trying to make them improve in the situation. And, you know, you were asking Devin about how we feel about these feeder schools and these school leagues. So Kuro themselves, I feel pretty good about them. Was it in January or February? They asked us to come do some talk about like how they can make the environment more conducive towards their own students getting involved in esports and getting involved in gaming overall and at large. So it's not just one of these things where they're just jumping on a bandwagon. You can tell that they have some serious ambition to make this a viable strategy for how the school itself functions. And like Etienne was mentioning, Auto Hero, the more feeders you have, the better teams become, because that's always been one of the big issues in Dota in South Africa, right? Not just the sustainability of the scene, but the growth of it. Where do you get new players from? Who's coming into it? Whenever you have, because I'm sure you all remember, we had this like large dearth in between when Bravado and White Rabbit Gaming were like the best teams. And when they left, there was this massive power vacuum, which took such a long time before it really got filled up. And I hope that with these kind of leagues, that particular gap gets shorter and shorter. And then you get these situations where there's practically no difference, right? Where you're just churning in talent in and out no matter what. So I'm pretty hyped, pretty confident. And it's a nice change up to have it be the case that it doesn't have to be a sacrifice between, well, I'm sacrificing my school ambition to make sure I can play Dota. If those can go hand in hand, less pressure on players means that you can just be better at the game without having to go all in. I mean, you and I have had many off-air conversations about how bad it is for the scene overall when the only people that can survive in it are the people that have to go all in. So the few of us that have to do that, the better overall for everyone.
Yeah, and it also stops cannibalization because between like 2016 and 2019, the top 6 teams players just kept roster shuffling between each other. It was just like this merry-go-round. Like my team would steal someone, and then Sun 5 would steal someone, and then Energy would steal someone, and XT would steal someone, and WRG would steal someone.
And isn't it the law that what would happen is they'd often swap players? Like the carry from team A would go to team B, but then the person who left ends up on the losing team. It feels like a Dota curse. It seems to happen in the international scene as well.
But then if you have feeding schools, like talent coming through and like the top guys getting involved and spotting talent, you're not going to go and cannibalize or steal someone from another team. You're going to be like, hey, let's get this Lighty or whoever in, like the school presence in, like we can grow them, we can teach them, and then suddenly there's new blood on the scene.
And to add into that, I mean, we saw even casting for the games. We actually have some of the coached people that was coaching teams in South Africa pop into chat and saying, "Hey guys, I didn't know that 14-year-old, 13-year-old kids, it's like barely in high school, can play this level of Dota. Like some of it was actually pretty decent." And they were saying, "Hey, if you guys need a coach, like, you know, please, here's my contact details, I'll let you know." And that, when I saw that, I was like, this is interesting, because the scene is actually hungry. Everyone's hungry to get more people in, especially the younger generations. So to be able to experience that type of movement, it's something special.
So I think we're going to leave it there because we do have a lot to cover. And so, sorry, Corny, we didn't get to get your thoughts. I'm sure you had some great ones, but
it's pretty much the same as Shaky's, actually. So thank you, Shaky.
Okay, good. So just we'll copy and paste, and then you got Corny. You know, and you're a good editor. You can do something like that. So I also want to just let you guys know we are watching the stream chat. So if you have any questions about anything, please feel free to chime in, and one of our admins will alert us to the good ones. We'll answer those, and they can be about anything. We'll weave them into the conversation where appropriate. That is, of course, if the power stays on. So before we go there, Connie, what's the name of the bear behind you?
Bear. This is DV, short for Devilius.
You had to think about that way too long.
No. There's two.
I think that's
the thing. I just had to check which one was behind me. The other one is called Mark.
I think it's called Hellbear.
I don't know if that's a big enough beard to.
I'll get a third one. Then we can name him Hellbear.
Problem is, I think I prefer Penguin. But anyways, let's talk about something a little bit more challenging. It's not a nice topic to go over, but I do think it's important as we address the state of Dota 2 in South Africa that we go there. So let's set the scene for a moment, everyone. You've come home from a hard day of school or of work, or maybe it's the weekend and you just want to unwind a little bit. Get to your PC, you boot up your favorite game ever. It's Dota 2, of course. And you know what happens? You get first blood. You're feeling good. You're getting every last hit, and snap, the power's out, and your great game's over. But of course, this isn't a problem just for us, our enjoyment of Dota 2, but it's also a problem for our scene. So, Connie, let's kick it off there. What's life been like during load shedding and Dota 2 in South Africa?
Well, load shedding, you end up looking like Etienne a lot of the time. It's just at the wrong times. You're in the darkness when you don't want to be. I mean, you can see he's been down in the dumps. I mean, he doesn't currently have load shedding, although it looks like it. But it does make things a hell of a hassle. You know, the schedule's changing, trying to get, even if you're just looking at a single match going, trying to find an hour of time where 10 people aren't load shed is a miracle in its own. It's actually a miracle that we are all here at this time, as we could have found the slot as well. So it makes things extremely hard during load shedding. You do have the fortunate souls that'll have, say, a generator or UPS or anything along those lines. And if you do have them, thank you, essentially. But we shouldn't need to thank you. That's the sad thing. It's like it's become this thing of, oh, at least I have a generator. But you're I don't know. It's like thanking the guy that rammed into the back of your car for taking it to the shop for you. Why not just not do it in the first place?
Fair enough. I mean, good. I'm that guy.
I was on the spot, okay?
I get you. When I haven't broken many glasses in my life, like as in drinking glasses. But when I do, the first thought in my mind is like, why did it have to happen? Like it didn't make, it would have made a difference to anybody else's life. Nothing else would be wrong, but I wouldn't be cleaning up glass. So I get where you're coming from. Not a hero. I'm curious. You've obviously been in a position in the past to deal with load shedding from a player's perspective. Like, what are the challenges? I mean, I think it's fair to kind of express that to everyone so they know why some of these things will get delayed. And I think it will get delayed. We will have issues with scheduling. What is it like for a player?
So the thing is, though, in the context of it also depends on what stage you are in a tournament, because we are going to the main event here, and when you're just in like a qualifiers and there's a lower bracket, or you're in a pool stage or whatever, one of my players has load shedding, I'm gonna get a sub here. But we had a stage now where this tournament's going into it's the best of the best. You don't want to be using your sub. You want your 5 people in that lobby. You want to be playing with your strongest squad, and not being able to do that because of power outages is excessively frustrating. And it's not just that; it drops viewership, it drops everything. Like it's an entire chain effect, and like this is run because there is viewership. Like EGL season 3 is happening because there's viewers, there's people that want to watch this. We want the best of our country to participate and play at the highest level, and then less viewers because of load shedding, and then also maybe someone has to use a sub. Like that's a headache. It's a train smash, and hopefully we get blessed in the next few weeks, and the games can go off smoothly.
Knock on wood.
Shaky, you obviously do a fair amount of personal streaming as well. So I mean, it's not just the players; there's also the entertainers that are on the fringes. How do you deal with it? What's the way forward for a streamer?
I mean, I feel like I can talk a lot about it, but I'll keep it short. To get into just the straightforward part, all streamers, all content creators across the board, it's something like 35 to 40% loss in viewership that we're getting. And to put it frank, like there's different seasons and waves to esports casting, everything. And in between those waves and seasons, you fill it up with something else. Some people have a normal job, some people create content. Everyone has their own filler in between. For some of us, the filler is content creation. So to be in a filler stage in the season of everything, to have load shedding pop up and to see that drop and stuff, it's disheartening. But at the end of the day, you just gotta have to push through it, I guess, and hope for it to stop happening. But it definitely is affecting the content creation scene a lot.
Okay, I mean it feels rough. Like it feels like a tough time, right? Like it's hard to swallow. But
Yeah.
I think I mean you mentioned about these obviously ambitions and dreams. I mean everyone wants to reach the point where they're doing this full time, that this is the job, and probably the person that's reached that, well, the closest to that point right now, of course. In fact, you're pretty much there, right? But I mean you obviously want to grow that brand, so the snare. And I'm curious, like what I mean, I can imagine load shedding is a nightmare for when you're being asked to cast some of the best teams in the world with TI qualifying points on the line, and it's telling you it's time for stage 6. Firstly, how do you deal with it? And like, do you have any horror stories to share with us or insight? The floor is yours.
So I have a horror story, but I also have, unfortunately, a horror story that benefits me. So the place I moved into, I had to move into it at literally last minute notice. I was supposed to move in some people. They dropped me a week before I was supposed to move out of my previous place. It was like a last minute hustle, just live anywhere.
Nice.
And the place I happened to get, right, happens to be close by to one of these Denel offices. But it transpired after about a month here. I realized I was like, wait a second, why have I had consistent power? It turns out that I'm on a grid that doesn't get disrupted by load shedding, right? And you would imagine that this is great for the casting. And normally it is. It's phenomenal. It's wonderful. Don't have to get interrupted. I always have consistent power. But then the one day, there was some substation that blew up. And the power was gone for, I think, a week or something. And it's one thing when it's like, it's on a load shedding schedule, you can at least plan around it. But when it's just like, yo, you do not have power. You just can't do anything here. The only way to deal with it for the most part is a lot of traveling to people's houses, utilizing. There was one day I costed a game from a restaurant. It was like laptop out, mobile router there, long ass extension lead to the generator. You have to hustle, just make it happen pretty much. In the last minute, it's not great.
I'm sorry, I'm painting this picture in mind. Like, so you sort of walk in with your laptop, you got all this equipment with you, like I'm guessing probably headset, all that kind of stuff. Kind of said to the wait, listen, I will order everything, but just let me do this.
Basically, what I did, I was like, do y'all have a smoking section inside? Yes, sweet. Kick everyone out. Hope no one else is there. I'm out here. I'm just like, let's just hope this works. Let's just hope we survive. And then, if power goes out at the restaurant as well, with their generator dies, you're just like, well, we've got 40 minutes left on this battery power. Let's hope we survive. Let's hope we get through this. It's not great, but somehow you make this work. It's been cool to see that people try to be understanding. It is very unfortunate though, because as much as people are understanding of our situation, at the same time, when people say to you, yo, you're not a reliable bet because you might not have power in this instance, it's also you understand their particular circumstance. You're like, I get it from a business perspective. So there's a challenge in that regard. But for the most part, I think people can generally see if you are... People can sense that you're willing to try and deal with the issue, right? That's like, no matter what is actually happening in real life, no matter what the circumstances are, the fact that you're grinding it out and making another plan, which often tends to be the SA way, does curry favor. So it's kind of one of these weird, awkward things where, yes, it makes the circumstances worse, but it also demonstrates that you're the kind of person that's not going to fold under pressure. So that's also good in the long run, but in the immediate and medium term, it's awful. It's terrible. The day that it ends, the day that there's just consistent power, and also just like, and then that's just like thinking about things internationally in a full-time perspective, but thinking about things locally, how often is it that tournaments get delayed, interest dies down, not just like immediate viewership, but no one can be certain when things are going to happen. People like to know that, hey, in 2 weeks' time, this game is going on, this particular series is going to be casted, sweet. Now, when there's never that certainty, it's just like, we'll do it when we can, when we have power, but we can't guarantee it. When we have power, you'll have power, and that everybody who wants to view the game wants to have power as well. It becomes a nightmare, it becomes a mess, and it's very detrimental to the scene. Like Shaky was mentioning, you can immediately just see the drop-off from everybody as soon as load shedding starts, because there's no other option but to just try and deal with it as you do in that kind of way. So it's very frustrating, but what's interesting to me is the fact that even through the fact that the load shedding persists, people are still hustling. Like, everyone is trying to make sure. It would be very easy to just be like, well, we'll wait until the announcement is over that load shedding is done, then we'll resume proceedings. But the fact that people still try to push through during the load shedding is a positive sign overall that there's enough passion to people to want to continue regardless.
I mean, people casting from restaurants. Am I right?
I'm just saying that there's going to make some
He's got a track record
train
of casting.
stations, restaurants.
George, we need memes.
Can I submit like maybe your next public broadcast is at like an airport or something? That sounds like a good one.
We started
I have done an
channel-
airport broadcast. I
Oh,
have done an airport broadcast.
okay.
I missed the flight once.
We started a
and-
YouTube channel. Where does Snake
Yeah.
cast next?
You can leave your vote in the comment section below.
Yeah.
We'll let you vote where you want Snake to cast from first. We'll see if we can make it happen, right? Like,
Just there from Nigeria Falls.
yeah, that extreme broadcasting. I like it. This could hit off. Okay. Don't forget to be famous. All right. So let's move this one along. I think obviously a bit of a sad topic, but we do have some interesting questions. First one's gonna be a quick one. Yes, the flash question for you, not a hero. Why hasn't Visage been nerfed? Admins, could you also just mention who asked it? I think that was
I think it's
Oppo.
I think it's a bit of a meme question. Like the hero feels excessively strong, but its win rate is not that high. And the direction the meta was going, there's just way too many heroes that
That's
feels.
because people are picking at 5 now as well. I don't know why. I don't know what's happening.
Its win rate is not high enough for Valve to go, hey, like let's nerf it. But like Dawnbreaker being so significant at the moment, like I think
Don't break
that
a tiny dude.
yeah, it hurts Visage so much.
Okay. Moving on to what I think is actually a really great question by Myrmidons Gaming. What can we as regular players do to help with the Kuro Esports platform? So let's throw that to Shaky first. Obviously, you had the most experience of us. What do you think the average player can do to help make Kuro a success?
I think just consume content. That's one thing that's we as a South African community struggle with a lot, especially in the Dota scene. I think the big thing that will help the scene a lot is just participation in content, participation in watching the scene, being interested, seeing what's happening, being there, and being active in whatever is happening. If there's a game going on by whatever's look, it doesn't have to be Kuro Esports. It could be any single school that's going on. If a school starting out in the esports scene and they can get viewers and they can get good amount of viewers, they take that analytics, they go to sponsors, they say, hey guys, we're starting this, these are our viewers, this is our reach, this is what we can do. The sponsors immediately will go, we like this is good, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's all about money. I mean, you don't want to say, but sponsors are there, they want the engagement. So if viewers are there constantly consuming content for schools can then look at it and go, guys, this actually is working. Instead of if no one watches it but everyone praises the scene, then the schools can't take it any place further. So I think it's a really good question, and it's definitely something that we need to be more active on, and it's just consuming content in general.
I've got something to add to this. Like 100% what Shaky says is true, but I think as like these teams and everyone like Myrmidons is now asking like how can we help? Let's start getting these teams, and we're gonna leave that in your court, Shaky. But let's start getting these school teams to start joining tournaments like EGL, just for exposure, because we will talk about them. We will like address it and tell them where they're from and what the school's history is. And then if like these bigger organizations and teams want to get involved with those people directly, then the opportunity is there because they know who to speak to.
Yeah.
But we need to get them here. We need to get them to participate with us, and then people can get involved.
I agree.
Okay, Corny.
Main thing is, like Shaky said, you have to be engaged. And I think even a bonus point you can add to that is cheer for a team. Pick one. If you see the first match you watch and it's, hey, I like this guy's name because he's Pizza Man 23. Hell yeah. Cheer that guy on the hallway. Cheer for his team. Just keep going. Just pick one. Because at the start, it's especially when something is so new like this, it's unlikely that you're going to be able to see exactly from the start who the best of the best is going to be. Because maybe you want to cheer for the best of the best, maybe you want to cheer for the underdog, but just pick one and cheer for them through the season. And then at the end of the day, it's all in good sportsmanship that these guys will have, hopefully. And just play. Congratulate the other team if they beat the one that you lost. And then cheer for them if they're going through to the thing and say, yeah, because if the team that beat us won in the end, then it's not so bad for us. Sort of like OG at TI10. Anyway, so yeah.
I really like that, by the way. I think it's a
Fanboy.
great point is just to go find anybody to support, and even this is I think the thing we do naturally as humans, right? Is when you see two teams competing against each other, one of them is going to appeal to you, right? So even if it's on a case by case basis, where you just follow two teams, you're like, hey, I liked what that guy did in the previous matchup, but what was it? Pizza Man? Was it
Pizza Man 23.
Pizza Man 23. Magnus was so great. I'm a stan now. So whatever it is, I think that's a really great point. And I think it'll also have a very positive influence on the individual players as well, because I think that when you do start supporting a team, there's more to play for than just the final result, right? There's almost the pride that you might want to play for to make sure that those supporters are actually getting their, I guess just getting rewarded for their support. So you want to see those teams do well, and feed into the bigger pools. And who knows, maybe Pizza Man, you're sitting out there and you think to yourself this could be me. It's also a great inspiration for those who are not just in the Kuro system, but also just within some of the perhaps some of the teams that aren't likely to make it to the grand finals of EGL 3. Perhaps those kind of teams are still the kind of teams that you need to support, and who knows, maybe one day they do. I mean, that's I think it was EGL 2 that we spoke about. We spoke with Cast when he mentioned that he started out watching these Titans play, and then he just gets destroyed by them. One day he made it, right? So maybe the person you're backing is the next Castaway. Who knows? All right. Stay? You wanna wrap this one up for us? Any final thoughts?
I think the best part about thinking about how to help and how to be involved, like Shaker is mentioning, consume content, because people put a lot of effort and work into making this said content. It's not just about from the sponsor's perspective, but keep the dopamine rush going, right? Keep people motivated so they actually want to be involved and want to be doing this thing. But another thing as well is actually play the game, playing Dota and being involved in it, not just from a viewer's perspective, but making it worthwhile for people to come home at night and be like, all right, how am I going to spend this evening? Am I going to spend this evening simply just playing the game, or am I going to just sit down, watch Netflix or whatever, because it's just a better use of my time? Because if I play the game, I'm going to be going up against the same coterie of people, and yes, those people can be very good, very established, but it gets a bit stale after a while. But just having an influx of new people that share the same passion of the game in and out, I think is also another thing that we need to think about and talk to as well. That Dota is best enjoyed not just as a spectator sport, but I think what often differentiates it from a lot of other esports and a lot of other titles is you can reasonably look at something really cool that happens in Dota and be like, I want to do that. I can actually figure out a way to make that happen. I mean, it does happen in fighting games as well, but that's also why most of the people who watch fighting games are also massive players of fighting games. So people need to do the same for Dota, and it definitely makes a difference down the line.
Saying here as well about by bringing in new blood at the higher level, it would really help with pubs not being 35-minute long queues.
That's a selfish request. If you stop stacking, that problem will go real fast.
Average queue 28 minutes at the moment, lads.
That's those stacks. You got to get queue at the same time as duck. Right. Moving right along. Final question is a little bit of a flash one because I think we got to move on to the next segment. But very quickly, what will be the most picked and banned hero of the tournament? So give us two. We'll start with you, Corny. You got to go fast. Let's go.
Momni Knight and Voka.
Which way around?
Wait, what? Most picked and banned. Momni Knight picked Voka banned.
Okay. For the same ones.
Really?
Okay. Yeah. All right, Shaky. You can wrap. Stay. You get to speak for yourself as well. Do you agree?
No way, dude. Most picked is going to be Tiny, and most banned is going to be Dawnbreaker.
Tiny.
That makes sense, yeah.
All right, Shaky.
I was about to say most banned, Dawnbreaker. I don't know about most picked though. Most pick's probably going to be something stupid like Centaur. I don't know, something strength. Just some strength here is probably going to be picked. That's where I see the scene going.
Clip it, boys. We'll see at the end of the season.
Let's see who was right. Anyways, all right, cool. So let's move on to the next segment. A little bit of a shout out as well. Obviously, none of what we do would be possible without the people that support the scene. So, of course, it's important to take a moment to show our thanks to our sponsors. And the sponsors in this case are Dell and Intel. So big shout out to them. Obviously, some great products. I think you've probably used their products in the past. They should be very familiar to all of you, and they are good products. And that's one of the nice things as well in this case. We get to be supported by a brand and return our thanks to a brand that we can actually get behind. So, of course, Again, big shout out to Dell and Intel. But let's talk a little bit more about that, what it actually means. I think often we don't speak enough about what the need of sponsors are and what the kind of effect they have on the scene actually is. So I want to start this one off a little bit by myself. I've obviously been around for a very long time, and I've worked at in different places within the industry. Sometimes I've been just a shoutcaster, and my only job was shoutcast. Sometimes I've been the person pulling the strings and having to actually engage with sponsors. Now, I really can't express enough like what an enormous effect sponsors have on the scene actually is. When you think to massive prize pools that are happening on the international stage, and some of the massive prize pools we've had here, and of course these very important prize pools that we're still getting into the Dota 2 scene today, what's really doing is it's more than just creating a reason for us to play, it's also creating a reason for us to watch. And that's a very interesting system that is built at that point. When you start feeding in your players, you start getting better players. When you have better players, you have more people watching. And of course, this all comes around to us being in a position where we can have sponsors come in, we can see their logos, we can see that these are the kind of brands that are interested in us, and we can show our interest in them, and that cycle just continues going, and it grows up our community in a big way. But I think it's important that we also have to conduct ourselves in a way that is befitting of this. So I would really like to stress, if you're somebody younger in particular who's getting into the scene, you like to pause when you kill somebody in a game, know that like sponsors see this stuff. They're not stupid. They know what is going on. And conducting yourself in a manner that makes you the kind of player that they want to get behind also have a knock-on effect of potentially having your own brand, your own team that's being sponsored as well. So that's my little shout out to everyone to say, sponsors make the world go round. And in this case, the way we conduct ourselves is enormously important. So really give thought. Next time you're hovering over that F9 key to BM your opponent, think whether it's actually worth it. And that's not going into the worst stuff that's out there. Just try to be a little bit nicer to everyone. Anyways, that's my thoughts on the matter. So my little spam for the day. But of course, I need to give everyone else a chance to talk. So put your hand up if you want to go next. Who's ready for this one? Okay, Connie, you are definitely the most eager. I think. Anyone else? Connie,
going once, going twice.
Jump in, go ahead.
I have been very excited for this season 3 for one important reason. The teams are absolutely stacked, and it looks so good going into this. Like all of the ones that we've had through the qualifiers coming in, and even some of the ones that are left over here in the wildcard draw are extremely, extremely good. And it's going to be it's going to be challenging the whole way through. From lower bracket round 1, from upper bracket round 1, we're going to have good matches through and through. So we had the invited teams of Sin5, Energy, XD, and Duck.
Hold up. There's nothing with sponsors.
Wait, sorry, what?
We were talking about sponsors.
Damn it. You said
Like,
talk about something. I wanted to talk about that.
Okay, so can we just do me a favor? Just like cut. We'll go back there. Anyone else want to say anything about sponsors? Shaky, you want to jump in here? You want to save our man who's turning his greetings now?
I think I just can add on to what I said earlier. Sponsors do make the world go round, but it's also important to be a part of a family. Like sponsors are your second family. When a brand connects with another brand, it's something amazing, and the way we conduct ourselves is very important as well for the scene in general. So I think just having more sponsors start to step in the scene, if they see that the scene is something that's progressively becoming a family dynamic, something that people like to get behind, something people like to support, then you tend to get more companies starting to get interested. So I just big massive shout out to companies like Dell and Intel that like to step into the scene and go, hey guys, we love what you're doing. The scene is absolutely amazing. The vibe is high. Let's do something. Let's create a moment in history that we can all remember. So I think that's my segment on sponsors and just how much I appreciate them in the scene.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, to follow up on that, like, it's massively important. Like, everyone on this channel today, you guys are here because you want to see what's going to happen in EGL, or you're a player that you want to see what's the up and up. But without sponsors, like, none of this would be possible. And when we generate views, when we generate support, when we generate an entertaining tournament and there's content and good games and people are tuning in for the views, it sets us up for our scene to be healthy and for our scene to grow. We spoke about feeding teams from schools and all these things. Well, if moms and dads in the school leagues are seeing that, these big brands are attaching themselves to Dota 2, this is what my kids want to play at school as a competitive sport, they're going to give them their support because it's just a complete ripple effect. So like we have to, everyone needs to chime in, and like from the small teams to the big teams, everyone needs to get involved.
Now,
I mean,
on this note,
sponsors are the reason that we get paid. So shout out to them.
thank you from the the most like selfish parts of my wallet. Thank you for making this happen. No, but I mean, but jokes aside, like I jest a little bit there. I really do want to point out that that's totally true. Like the fact that we get an opportunity to grow as individuals in this industry is also directly related to the fact that we have something to do and of course can actually engage. I mean, this kind of, I mean, look around for a moment if you're expecting like the just not heroes. This is not helping my point. But look around and you'll see that there's Snare's got like a really crisp green screen. I can tell you something right now that screen behind Snare's is the fact that it's so flat is a big deal and increases the quality in a big way. You got shaky. I mean, he's got the boom mic going, and and I'm using one of the like de facto mics, and well, Corny's also got. I think you have a boom mic there, if I'm not mistaken. There you go. So the point I'm making is the fact that we get money in often goes to the quality of our actual production. I think the first step for everyone here is like the money that they get in is like straight into making what they can do better. So obviously that's a massive deal as well to us personally. So with my jokes aside, I do sincerely mean it. Corny, do you want to redeem yourself before we ask some questions?
No, I'm good. You can keep going.
Yeah.
I'll sit in a puddle of shame.
We'll get back to you because I think that puddle of shame is going to become a lake of knowledge in just a moment. But some questions just before we get there. Why did you act like that? Anyways,
I love it, dude. That was such a good transition, man.
Okay.
I was just like, wow, that's really knowledgeable. That was kind of fire. Anyway.
I mean, I try. Anyways, all right, let's go. So announcement on this before we go into questions, and a really cool announcement. Not a hero. What is the best thing in the world?
Free stuff.
Free stuff, that's right. And of course, with a sponsor like Dell, do you think they would not give free stuff to our wonderful audience? Of course they will. So just keep your eye on this because we have a big announcement for a great giveaway from Dell at the end of the season. But we'll play our cards a little bit closer to our chest for the time being. But the other one question to wrap up the section, and that is from, what is his name? Opum?
Opium.
Okay, Shaky, you're just going to say it for me. You're just going to like inject it where I should be saying it. So our question from...
Opium.
Were you guys surprised by just how different the meta is after such a minor balance in the patch? And if so, how much of it is because of Marcy and DB in CM? Well, let's throw this over to Not a Hero. I think this is his kind of space, and we'll go there next.
So like I definitely think like how he's saying like Marcy and DM is having a massive influence on it, but I think it's more to do with like regen, and I don't know if Snare will agree, but it's because solves were nerfed into the ground, and how people now are playing lanes are like it's very much like lane dominators, and then how you're going to transition that into the mid game. Like you're seeing these hyper aggressive mids, like suddenly Puck is back, mid Tiny is back. It's all these heroes that can put their foot on the gas and go, because when they get to those side lanes, like they've been poking each other the whole time. Heroes are half health, and for a hero like Puck or Tiny, that it's just transitioning kills.
I'm 100% all in on that as well. The sustain meta, like that change on the serve literally changed the entire meta. There's a reason why now the most popular support in the game, like Warlock is super popular, Tree is super popular, anything that gives any heal in the lane. Juggernaut is back as like one of the most picked carries in the meta right now, almost specifically because you just get the early healing ward, nullifies the need for the salve meta. I mean, last patch when we still had the salves, Pugna was the most picked support in all regions everywhere, and no matter what division of Dota you're playing. But now, suddenly, because the heal comes too late, Pugna doesn't get picked because you need a lane heal immediately for the lane itself.
Why
Changes
Bane died.
everything.
It's also why Bane died. Like
Bane
Bane
died
was
immediately.
Bane was the
Winter Wyvern
biggest.
is back.
Bane was the biggest salve maiden. Let's put it that way.
Self-made.
I know exactly the words we're going to use.
Yeah.
Please do.
Bane was the biggest salve buyer in the game, and you've just got to support that he can top himself up. He can top himself off of brain sap, and then he just keeps healing his carry as well. So like that moment those salves got changed, like he's very situational. You only see him against like lifestealer picks and stuff like that. But other than that, like those euros just went away, and
Immediately.
it has a chain effect because now you're picking heroes of heal in the lane, so now you need to pick different carries, and you need to pick a different offlaner, and your mid player starts playing differently. So it has a chain effect, and that was all just by saying that you guys aren't sharing salves anymore. Here you go, massive nerf.
Changed everything. I mean, there's a reason. Also, the person asked why is DB and Marcy being involved in this particular stack. Both of these heroes also have absurd heals between Solo Guard. They have a Solo Guardian heal for the DB for later in the game, as well as heal in the lane with the Luminosity. And then for the Marcy, you of course get Sidekick in the lane and then Unleash later. So both of them give sustain.
Hero?
Both of them are everywhere. Yes, very stupid hero. Like
Do
change
you know,
everything about that.
I
hero
just
so
want to
much.
make a comment.
On that note, sorry, like me and Shay like actually had a chat yesterday, and like I sent him some clips from Nisha, and then he's like sent me clips back that he was casting, and the interaction between it was Tiny and Marcy, eh?
Marcy Tiny, yeah.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt this because I think this might be a little bit more fitting for another conversation we're going to have down the line, and we need to move things along. But it's really important as well that when you're in these positions, and of course everyone here will tell you the same thing, is that when you broadcast, it's about weaving a story. It's not just about like just exposition, right? You really want to draw the audience and take a moment to reflect. And I want you all to time travel with me for a moment. Now, I might think, what time travel? What is this? Are we backtracking or something? We are backtracking. We're backtracking to a time when Corny was feeling good about this broadcast, a time when he was happy and engaged, and he had said nothing strange just yet on the broadcast. And we're going to go back together, and then we're going to get back and see. This is your moment. This is your time to shine. This is your redemption arc. Tell us about. I can't exactly remember the specifics, but that thing you're talking about a moment ago, that wealth of knowledge that you're about to drop on us. I think what we're talking a little about here as well is our next section, a little bit more specifically about EGL.
Yeah. So, I'm also going to time travel a tad bit. If we go back to Season 1 of EGL, the inaugural one that brought everything back, kicked off the scene in this heavy sense, and sort of got the ball rolling as such. You had a bunch of teams that were entering over there, all of them very high caliber, right? But you had a few odd ducks here and there thrown in, but that's the nature of the wildcards, is we give this team a chance. And actually, if you remember in Season 1, you had Hayes, who had that big upset in the low bracket round 2 on Pingu. Etienne Snare, guys will probably never forget that game. That last pick Meepo, you going, this will never work, and then
I swallowed my words hard that game, but
yeah. So in Season 1, you had a bunch of teams. Season 2, you had a lot of the returning guys. Obviously, the invited teams, top 4, and all of that. But now that we come to Season 3, and we have our qualified teams, that's why we're here. We're going to get the last 4 for the wildcard slots. But the qualified teams, it makes it 9 total that have been in all 3 seasons. I believe my number is right on that. We've had a few name changes in between and roster shuffles and such, but Sin5, Energy, XD, Duck, Punks, White Rabbit, the current ZIZ, Game Has Changed, and Aura. Those are our 9 boys.
You said Game Has Changed. And that Game Has Changed squad is not the one from the past.
They have
Their game has definitely changed.
The Game Has Changed is now playing under what banner? The old squad? It's under Royal, isn't it?
We've got to keep things in order here, guys. We're not there yet. Let's save the spicy stuff for a little bit later. I mean, obviously, a lot of rosters that you mentioned, but what has the performance been throughout? I mean, how have these teams been? Have we had the results that we were expecting from these sides?
Well, you're talking through qualifiers.
I'm talking through EGL 1, EGL 2, EGL 3. What has the experience been like for these teams?
Well, they've had a good run. It's the nice thing about the double elim format. You get that second chance, and you get to make that run through the low bracket, which a lot of teams did. Actually, White Rabbit last season, they went out in upper 2 and went down to lower 2, made it all the way to top 4. It's not the same White Rabbit round this time, as they've had a bit of a change up, but it's a nice format, and it gives people that second chance. And even if you do well in the first stage of the event, you get very far. Just off the bat of things, I believe it was who was it? Faced Boys with Dota and Diane, his whole stack. They ended up, I think, in 5th place. They won the 5th, 6th tiebreaker because they were able to win their first 2 matches in the upper bracket. So the teams are having this good. What do you call it? It's just good. It's fun.
But the thing is, like Season 2 as well. Like there was some massive games.
Yeah.
Like me and Shaky casted a series, which I think I'll remember for forever. It was XD versus Energy. like it looks like XT's got it. Like they're bringing it back. We're going to a game 3, and Deppy just walks out of Adestam and Yappa
remember that
boots of
game,
travels
yeah.
into XD's base. Yappa just walks out of the fountain with a Naga Siren song, presses R, and next moment XD loses the game. Like it was. I'd be
It was the
ashamed.
classic.
We
Winning
lost
the
our minds.
game
We
for
couldn't
40
even speak.
minutes.
Like,
yeah,
and then you-
like little gurgles like popping out of our mouths. Like it was.
Jamie
Okay,
busy
I-
foaming at the mouth.
I like this. So let's go on a real trip down memory lane this time, and just a flash round. We'll start with Snare this time. Favorite moments from all of EGL. So EGL 1 and EGL 2, all on board.
It's unfortunate that you asked me this now after the extended spiel here from Georgie, because Corny was right. It was that last pick Meepo.
Yep.
That game was honestly the thing about Dota for me, and the reason why in my mind I'm still involved in Dota is I was talking to my mom the other day about this actually, right? And she was like, "Yo, I'm happy for you that you're paying bills of this gaming stuff, but when we're getting back into like the professional world or whatever." And I was like, no, like I'm not only am I happy with life, but the one thing is that every day I get to do something like this that I have fun. And that was just pure fun. That game made 0 sense. There was very little to analyze. It was just, let's enjoy what's happening before my very eyes. It was just hella fun. Yeah, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And that's why I love, like the highlight that Etienne was mentioning earlier, Not a Hero there, where you see that Marcy tiny interaction. I'll actually put this clip in chat so everyone else can see it, because it just reminded me how fun this game is. So that Meepo game, by far the most fun I've had, not just in EGL, but in a lot of Dota. That was very enjoyable to engage in.
I'd like to add on to what Etienne said, because I mean, at the end of the day, we want to talk about how important EGL has been for all of us and how amazing this experience has been. And that specific play, that was the type of play that I would expect coming from a DPC international. And me as a caster, being quite new to the
He
scene,
lost
and
his mind.
I sat there and was like, I remember seeing them end on the one side, and then Etienne just said, the Naga, the song. And I was like, the song. And I was freaking out. And ever since that day, being a part of this whole scene that EGL has created and the legacy it's leaving behind has been so pure and amazing to me that will always be ingrained in my head as one of the most amazing times I've ever casted in my life. So I just wanted to add on to that thing that Etienne said about what we experienced in that casting.
Awesome. All right, so I have a request from the admin team, because they want in on this as well. So they really want to mention Grove's Earth Spirit catches throughout the season. So
No, I don't want to talk about that.
There's too many.
I don't want to talk about that because I've been
tell us what you
on
want to
the,
talk.
I've been on the receiving end of those, and
Yeah, I
you
think
don't
Not a Hero has Grove PTSD. I don't think you mentioned Earth Spirit from Grove or Tree from Grove. It's not allowed.
I'll never forget the words. Like it was it was Championship 2019. Snare's casting the game, and he just goes, "Not a Hero didn't ban treants." And yeah, it wasn't a fun game.
First pick Tree.
That's all I'm gonna say. It wasn't a fun experience.
Okay, well, I'll chime in with something very different. I like individual moments from games, right? Like I know some, like a lot of people will prefer like an overall game, but I like this flash in the. I'm a hype caster, right? So it makes sense.
You're in for a treat, then, my man. Like Pudge is back.
Well, actually, I think you'll like this one. My favorite EGL moment was actually that Echo Slam, Not a Hero. I believe it was Santa's Echo Slam. No chance of winning. The game looked. I mean, it was over. I mean, they went on to lose
from an Echo. Like, let's go.
But that one Echo, and you just saw that team come alive for one moment for blood. They knew that probably were a spark of hope, but it was just that moment in that fight that you just saw every single one of those players come alive, and that was certainly my favorite.
Oh, actually, Helbert, do you remember before we move on? I think it was season 1. There was some random game where Adestam was playing Ember Spirit, and they were losing the game super hard. And then he was just like, YOLO, we're losing the game. I might as well buy a Daedalus. And then he buys Daedalus and gets like a triple kill off of one slide. He's like, oh, now we're back in the game. Awesome.
Adestam's that guy, though. I remember when Not a Hero and I cast with Action Slacks, that he was started off absolutely hating Adestam. He was playing Shadow Fiend and getting stumped.
And he was his favorite player of all time. He's like,
I remember.
he was going to play for Akash.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Let's finish this off with our old boy Corny. Take honors. What's your favorite? Where do you want to go with this?
My favorite moment I remember this because I almost fainted. I'm not even joking. I even said it during the cast. It was XD versus WOG, low brackets. What would it be? Not final. The one before the final, semi-final. Even though there's only one game.
Low bracket final.
Game 2. XD are sieging top tier 3 against WOG. The fight's been going on for like 20-something seconds because there's a Medusa, there's a TA, there's a Timbersaw throwing all of this stuff. And the TA of, I believe it was Remedy playing it on carry, he was getting so low. He's about to die. He's about to have no buyback. WG's going to wipe them over there because he's their only damage on that side. And then out of nowhere, Ski Hound comes in with the Weaver Ags, time lapses him back, he gets the full health. The Ember Spirit jumps in on the back line, he just wipes them all, and then I think they ended up losing that team fight, but I almost fainted. I was not joking. I was doing this, I was all the way on my table, and I was begging for Etienne to try and take over the gas somehow, but he wouldn't, so I kept going. And I said, screw it, if this is how I go out in life, from fainting in my computer and somehow dying from that, I'm happy. So thank you, Ski Hound, XD, and WOG. That was something I won't forget.
Awesome. Yeah. So I guess that's a nice summary of this. Let's talk about going into this current season. I mean, we're actually getting a little bit long the tooth in this broadcast. We have to wrap things up fairly soon. We still got a lot. This is going over. So, sorry, folks. This is going to be more than an hour. Just let you know now. Yep, it's happening. EGL 3. Give me. Let's go straight back to you. What are your thoughts coming into this one?
Stacked. One word, stacked. The teams that are going to play in this one, like I said before, it's going to be fighting. It's going to be close games from round 1, upper bracket, lower bracket, every single time. All of the teams look extremely promising. They've had good results, even good matches overall in other tournaments, playing against each other through and through. We've had Royalty come into the scene as an org as well. ZIZ is onto their 3rd name now, so good for them, keeping up traditions, as they should.
I just call them Team Pingu.
Yeah, they're Team Pingu.
It's not going to change. I'm sorry, lads from the team there, but that's gonna stick.
Like you mentioned, also the game has changed, guys. They are.
No, but we have to talk about that though.
Yeah, I'll come back to that.
We have to talk about that.
Yeah.
That's a bonkers team. But
The
Winning team, in my opinion.
Aura, OPM, Pezbot, and the lads all coming back for the 3rd season in a row. Hopefully they can get a better result this time. I know they were slightly disappointed last time around, but they got it in them. Those boys, they turn it on. You're not going to stop them on the right match. Then you've got White Rabbit and Punks coming back, but they are on new rosters. I think there's only one retaining player on each of them. So we're going to have a nice refresh this time around for them. 4Q Gaming has also had very good results outside, and they look like a strong team, a good contender as well. Taken Esports, also one of the top at the moment. But Etienne, the one we have to talk about, game has.
Before we get there, keep your eyes on XD.
That too.
Because they did a little bit of a roster shuffle. I think Junaid is full on with studies at the moment. He can't play mid for them.
Yep.
So they've actually scooped up Crimson Tide, and Crimson Tide is going to XD for the EGL season, and that's something I want to watch. It's fresh, it's new. I don't know how many games they've been playing together, but that's something that I really want to see. But Snare, you were at Comic Con 2018. Helvet, you were at Comic Con 2018. Yeah, you remember those champions there?
Let's be honest. Let's not remind us.
Those champions there that is GHC, my boys.
Yep.
The entire GHC team is the Comic Con 2018 team that won, except for Adestam.
Except Adestam, yeah. I was about to say one change up.
One
I
change
am
up.
super hype. I don't think I've ever actually on air not back.
I'm happy to see
Toon
Toon Bunny again,
tournament,
man.
so- Yeah, it's been out the game for a young minute, so good to see the boy Caleb back in the mix. although actually you know this is not a hero, right? You know why he's back? You were talking about how the meta has changed, right? He was out of the game because he was like, well, I can't play Warlock, can't play Tree.
Yep.
These heroes are back in the meta. It's like, I have my time to shine, boys. Let's go. Let's play again.
Bambi? Oh, I can heal my carry.
He's
Like,
right.
for me. Yeah. Like,
Bunny's back. He was waiting for this meta. That's all.
so that is a phenomenally talented team. Like I know the guys have still been playing Dota, but obviously not from a competitive aspect. I know Dota and them were face it boys in the last EGL season, so still like stuck in there. But this team has what it takes to compete with anyone in this tournament. Like they are champions, Holbert. Like they're champions. So
It's the thing of now they're in EGL. They've come back. All of these teams, they're here. They get to play. They get to have their shot in the main event. And at the end of the day, EGL is the one that matters. Where you place in EGL is what determines where you sit in the scene. This is the best of the best. If you win, you are the best of the best.
but not just that, George. To
Not,
elaborate,
yeah,
on that,
not even just that.
it's a chance to play against the
Yes.
best.
If
Like-
you get,
Well,
yeah.
Like
I'm sorry for interrupting, but yes, that really resonates with me, and in both points, in fact, about if you win it, you are the best. But I also think this is the proving grounds. This is the space where you are going to find the truth, the true metal of your team. This is where you're going to find it. And with all due respect to every other event that's going on at the moment, EGL is the premier event, and as is tradition in South African Dota. Sure, you can. I mean, I remember a horror moment. I mean, I'm not sure. I think Snare, you were probably still working with me at the time, but I remember an absolute horror moment where I think it was. In fact, I'll be lying if I remember exactly which tournament, but one of the smaller tournaments were knocked out in the. A team was knocked out in the semifinals, and this was a LAN event. We had players still coming, in person, and during the interview. We were doing an exit interview, and one of the players was asked, how they feel, and they said, and it physically hurt me to hear a player say this at an event, but they said, "Oh, we don't really care. It matters where we finish at VS Gaming."
I
And-
remember this exact event.
And
Yeah.
they said, and I think they said something. We'll show you guys there,
We'll show
right?
you
Like
guys
that was
there,
the thing.
yeah,
And that is also in the nice way. That is the truth. That is the truth. That EGL is now the proving ground. Now this is the space where you can win other events in South Africa, but the one that's going to be the decider, the one that says, "I am the best team. I am the 5th best team. I finished top half. I qualified." All of those things are going to be answered here at EGL. So I think that's a massive deal for this tournament. And of course, for these teams, coming into it that they don't care. They don't care about what has happened in the past. They don't care that they're coming in the 2nd seed, because they know that no matter what happens beyond this point, if they finish 1st, they are the best. If they finish 4th, they're the 4th best. And if they qualify, they are one of the best. And that's the beauty, I think, of EGL at the moment. All right, with that, I think it's time to get stuck in, guys. Qualifier results. Let's go. Where are we standing at the moment? Connie, I think this is your bread and butter.
Yep.
Give us your thoughts.
Gotcha. So, we already listed all the teams that have qualified. Do you want me to touch on the rest of the state of the thing, or just the wildcards at the moment?
Right now, I want to talk about the qualified team very briefly. I think we are over time, so I want to start wrapping things up.
Yeah.
But tell us about who qualified, where they finished, and we'll give a very quick moment for everyone else to respond to their thoughts on that.
Well, because of our dear cousin ESCOM, it hasn't finished at the moment, the qualifiers, but we do have all of the 8 of them. We've gone through them already. At the moment, ZIZ and Game of Change are sitting in the semi-final of it, and we've got Taken versus White Rabbit and Aura versus Punks still sitting in the quarterfinal. So we'll have to see where those winners of those two match up into the semi and then into the final. It's just load shedding and scheduling. Stuff happens.
but they all have qualified.
They
Like,
all have qualified. They are all here.
for seeding purposes.
It's
now.
just for seeding, yes. So at the moment, game has changed. ZIZ both sitting at 3rd, 4th seed, but obviously one of them will be 1st and 2nd. And yeah, if you want to keep up to date with the general state of the tournament, there is a tournament page on Challenger Mode, which you can go and find yourself. You can see everything there, the brackets, where the teams will match up and into next. If you want to follow a bit more in depth, that would be the best place.
Awesome. Okay, guys. we got a little bit of stuff around. We had some conversations about this earlier, and I think there's a really nice leading question to this as well. We're going to talk a little bit about the meta quickly. We're going to open this up with a question from Remy to Snare. What would he like to see South African teams do that he noticed that Chinese teams are doing a lot?
There's a difference between like in China because Div 2 teams, it's actually really funny because some Div 2 China teams play a lot like some South African teams that I've seen. But the thing that's always held South Africa back, in my opinion, is not a lack of skill. We have really good players. It's not a lack of being able to perform in team fights, but overall it's just a lack of game cohesion. Often, this will always happen in South Africa. A team will win a team fight, and then in the 30 to 45 seconds after said fight, instead of finding themselves taking an objective, planting wards in the enemy jungle, just pushing up the map, we go back to farming because somebody needs a new item. Somebody needs to go back to base to replenish HP and mana, etc. If there was more cohesion or purpose, even if it's a bad plan, but this has always been a problem in South Africa, have a plan, stick to it. Doesn't necessarily have to be the most effective plan, but you can fix your plans down the line. The most important thing is to just get into the habit of doing things together as a full team. No matter what the state of the game is, just saying, all right, we have 30 seconds until our carry gets BKB. Before that point happens, we already have 3-4 heroes positioned around him. The moment the BKB arrives, we smoke, we're going to go make something happen on the map. Not this thing of, all right, guys, I've got the item. Now what do we do? So I think that's always been the big thing. Having advanced planning is what the best teams in China do, even relative to the other teams in China. The best teams, you can just see that they have an idea of what they want to do, when they want to do it, and they're able to execute that. Some teams are worse at it than others, but the thing that separates you from tier 1, from tier 2, 3, 4, 5 is just having a better... just being on the same page as a squad altogether is the difference between being a winning or a losing squad, in my opinion.
The thing is, to add to what Snare is saying, and I've kind of been saying it for the last few years. I've kind of got this. It's not like set in stone, but it kind of feels to me like Dota is becoming like the team that plays faster wins.
Yeah.
It's really about pace, and that's not necessarily meaning, hey guys, let's go fight them and fight them and fight them. What I mean by faster is Ravage is coming off CD. It's 30 seconds away, but that smoke is already ready. Like 10 seconds until Ravage, smoke happens. The moment that Ravage comes off CD, it's used, because then the cooldown starts ticking again. It means they can use it faster again. But what we see in our scene is, like, people just hold abilities sometimes. Like, you're walking around with a spell like Ravage or Chrono, and you just like, okay, the threat of the Ravage is bigger than it is. Like, yes, maybe 5 years ago that was 100% true, but I kind of feel that use it. Like, if you're playing faster, you've got an advantage in the game at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
All right. Teams to watch, guys. I know we've spoken a little bit about some of these. I mean, mentioned XD with some interesting things about game has changed. Let's open this to absolutely everyone. Shaky, I feel like we haven't given you much love in the last couple of things. Let's start with you this time. Take the floor.
Hey, look, analytical side has never been my strong point. I'm much like, I love color casting. I like talking about stories and stuff. And I love seeing people. I'm the guy that's always sitting there. I've casted for 12 hours. It's been a full-on 12-hour stream. The last game is a best of 5. And I'm pleading for this team to make it go to 5. I don't care about my sleep schedule. I don't care about what I'm going through. I wanted to go to best of 5. So to see teams constantly stay in the scene is always insane. Unfortunately, I've stepped away from the scene a little bit. I've been lucky enough just to upgrade some of my stuff, so I've been dabbling in other genres of games and stuff. But I'm going to just use a blank example. We spoke about them earlier. The fact that the Aura boys as well has also been constantly staying in the scene. I've really like Aura. Everyone, I wouldn't say like you've got your top 9, and then you got the guys that's always trying to get up to the top. And I unfortunately cannot mention any more teams because I do not have the knowledge for it. I can only use the one example, but I love the fact that, because I'm actually in the Aura's WhatsApp. I'm not affiliated with them in any particular way, but I've met them in real person, and they are people that want to play Dota because it's fun, and they've got very much the same kind of vibe as OG.
They've been climbing the ladder, they went from like no flame Aura, but like they went from like a trenches.
They went from a cool name.
They went from a trenches team to easily one of the top 8 teams in the country. So
that's my point. I've literally seen them from the beginning losing every single game, and then I'd watch them lose a game, cast them losing a game, go to their WhatsApp, and everyone would be like, "Guys, I know it's rough. Let's take the day. Tomorrow we go back to the drawing board. We reset. We try again."
That
And
is so cool.
I love that. Like, and there are definitely other teams that do the same. I'm just using them as an example.
Yeah.
But that for me, seeing teams like that in the scene coming up, perfect.
Let's
Love it.
give them a moment in the spotlight as well. Let's enjoy that, because we have said from season 1, right, that this is how the story begins. It begins by taking your lashings from teams that are more experienced, with more play time, with better strategies, with a history of winning, and then you slowly but surely start climbing that ladder. And I think maybe this is one of the great things about EGL Season 3. We're going to see that now. We're going to see some of those teams. And who knows? Who knows? I mean, it sounds like we're going to have a very interesting season. So let's see what happens. Let's see if we get some
And
massive upsets. But
help
I
with-
also...
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Okay, so one thing I want to just say about that as well, and I think all of us can agree, if we can use that and go into another point, is that teams like that needs to step into the scene more. I feel like more teams, there are a lot of teams, but more teams need to kind of come into EGL. It doesn't matter if you lose every single game that you try and compete in, but the only way to learn is to make massive mistakes. Like, I mean, all of the casters here have, when we started casting, I watched videos the other day. Oh, I couldn't. But you gotta do the difficult thing. You have to go up against Synergy, you have to go up against Energy, you have to go against Punks, and you have to be absolutely destroyed. But then you can take that video and go analyze it, and that's going to be so much knowledge instead of you going up against another team that's exactly on your skill level. So
honestly,
yeah.
even just losing does.
What Shaky is saying is 100% like spot on, because Halbert and Snake casted me for many years getting pummeled over and over and over again until like
So you
2018.
got good.
Like Snake got into like a podcast and like people were like naming the teams that they think is like potential title contenders, and Snake was like, "Oh, everyone calm down here. You're overlooking Salt there." And everyone was like, "What?" And then you started like listing the results, and the results were happening, but it's because we were getting pummeled for 4 years. Like it doesn't happen overnight, and you can play as many pubs as you want, but when you get into the competitive environment, this is where you learn. This is where you get. This is.
But it feels so good when it does kind of happen. Like I'm aflame something a little bit. But actually, I'll leave his name up. But there's a particular player out there who was very unkind to casters, was very unkind to me personally, and was very unkind to a lot of people in the scene and the way he treated them. And I remember he was better than me, and he was on a better team. And I will never forget the day that one of my friends, he was kind of like, this guy I was friendly with on their side, and it was different kind of lanes, right? So just understand that this is a long time. I'm like long gone from those teams, but this guy and I had to 1-on-1 in bottom lane, right? And I beat him so badly that he just said on his team speak at the time, "Guys, we may as well concede now. This game's over," right? It was a horrible person, and they never beat us again, and we put him straight into the trash. And you know what? It's fantastic. It's an earned feeling that I just really want everyone to experience once in their life. Go bury your nemesis.
Motivation.
Go bury your nemesis and see how good that feels. And it will only happen by practice. But there's also something else I wanted to address, sorry, and I will move this topic along in a moment. But I also think a lot of what we do here as well is not just about the players. It's also about the spectators and, of course, the people who also want to move into the broadcasting scene as well. And there's something that really stuck out to me about something you said, Shaken, and I want to share one last thing about it. You made a comment saying, "I really love this game, and I'm just hoping that the best of 5 goes to 5 games." And I want to say something that's really important about that is, and I know Snay obviously been around for a long time as well, is that the people who survive in this industry are the people that have that mentality. Say, how many times do we sit at LAN events in like massive stadiums with like crowds and the big lights and stuff, and there's always somebody saying something like, "Oh, I really hope this game doesn't go late."
Yep. Someone's like, "I'm trying to get home. I've already ordered the Uber. I've scheduled the Uber already. I'm trying to get home. I've scheduled a date
I'm
or
walking
something."
home.
You know, it's like, let me actually, to make it even more succinct here, Dev, right? About how much dedication and having that kind of passion can change your results in a tournament, right? I'm not going to mention the teams because this would be putting too much blast, right? But there was a tournament I was doing. It was a LAN event, and the team that won, right? On the morning that they won, the last day, the day before, they got knocked down to the lower bracket on like day 1 or whatever, and they were climbing back slowly but surely. But somebody's, I forget if it was their aunt or their mother or something, but there was some birthday party that everybody had to go to, right? Because everybody knew the person. They'd all like use the house as a team house and LAN environment before, so they wanted to pay their dues, right? And they weren't expecting to go that deep into the tournament. So now you have this awkward situation. What do we do here? We can't necessarily tell this person, yo, thanks for everything you've done for the team, but now the day before grand finals, the team takes precedent. But we also can't like slack off grand finals. So what they do is they go to this party. They leave the party at 1 a.m. After leaving the party, go back to the team house, practice until 6. From 6, go to the venue, right? Get some dose a little bit for like an hour or two before the event starts, right? Just so that they are moderately awake. And then just before the event, and they have to be awake, a chugging coffee like it's nothing. Just be like, as long as we can survive the next 5 hours, we're good. And they won the event. It was good. It was awesome. And
Okay, who was
it
it?
takes that kind
Just
of, like,
go. You can't
I
do this.
I need
Who
to
was
know.
it?
I
No,
need
who's
to
we're
know.
talking about.
I'll tell y'all
This
off
is
here.
non-negotiable. No, this is non-negotiable.
No,
I'll tell
we
y'all
need
off
to
here.
know.
No,
We need to
I'll
know.
tell y'all
dude.
off here. Listen,
No.
listen. We can't. I don't kiss and
EGL,
tell.
EGL, we need an admin. This can't be legal. This
Not even
this
your-
can't be legal.
All right.
Okay.
Admin team, if we triple my rate, then I'll reveal it on air. There we go.
We'll make this happen. We're gonna have to. We'll come back to you guys. We'll take this offline, but we'll tweet
Before we
it
move
out.
on to the next topic, there, guys, we have to talk about the champions, like the current
Hmm.
EGL champions.
But I just wanted to stand at like CS:GO first and talk about like to finish off this conversation about it. Like the worst place I see this is when people say, "I don't want it to go to overtime." Like, no, let it go to overtime. Best place to go, right? And that's. I just want to finish this off with it. That needs to be your attitude if you want to become a broadcaster, or I guess as a player as well. I mean, same constitution applies. You need to be the person that says, "I want this to go late. I want this to be hard, and I want this to be." A challenge that's as a broadcaster and as a player, and yes, I think as somebody who just loves the game, who wants to see people push their limits, and if you have that mentality, you'll go far. All right, not hero. You want to talk about the champions? Who won EGL 1?
Oh, Sun 5.
Both times.
Who won EGL 2?
Sun 5.
All right, so let's talk about Sun 5, shall we?
2-time returning champions with the same roster from last season.
Mhm.
And some of these boys have been playing some big Dota. Like
Yeah.
Castaway has been part of this SEA team that almost made it into a DPC slot.
Mhm.
I'm gonna flame him a little bit though.
Yeah.
Flame him a little bit.
Go,
There's
go,
a
go, go.
tournament that I was doing this morning, and Castaway was supposed to be on that team. We're playing with Ninja Boogie, and I don't know if it was a connection issue or whatever, but him and Frank couldn't show up, so they had to get subs. And I was super disappointed because I was like, man, we showed up. We're supposed to be in the same lobby together. Now I'm hating life. But the team is through, so they can still play there. It's fine.
So those lads have made strides this year. They've taken their game to the next level, and like they still the monster. They still the Goliath. It's going to be a big wall to climb. Like there's lots of talent in this tournament, but Sun 5 is not going to just give their title away. It's not happening.
Like you say,
Okay.
the only team. They are the only team in the tournament that has not gone through a roster change. Be that they feel confident, be that other teams feel they need to change it. Sun 5. I won't say who, but when EGL was announced, he said, "Hey, tell me which of these things I should buy with the prize money." That was how confident they were. They were like, "I'm already making my shopping list."
Oh, well, that's a little gauntlet for the rest of the teams. Like, come
Now
on.
you deserve to lose, right? Okay, right. Who's knocking off their pedestal? Let's start with you, Sir. Who do you think has got the guns to take down Sun 5 and become the first ever team that isn't necessarily in green to lift the trophy?
All right, listen, I'm going to tell this in the form of a story, right? 2017, February, March, or somewhere like that. I was busy casting some random Chinese tournament on my own channel on Twitch, getting like 3 or 4 viewers, hating life, being very despondent about the situation, not wanting to do anything. And I messaged one of the people and I said to him, yo, fam, I don't know if I even want to stick with this. Like, I'm playing Dota. I'm not at the time, I was also really bad at the game. I'm like, I'm not gaining MMR. I'm not going anywhere with this casting thing. Like, it's cool in South Africa, but I want to grow overseas. I don't know what's happening, fam. And then he said to me some prescient advice. He's actually find that message where he's like, you need to decide if there's something that you want to do or not. And after you've made that decision, then you can start thinking to yourself about whether or not the decision is worthwhile. But if you can't resolve to yourself whether or not that's the decision you want to make, then this might not be for you. and it helped a lot. My career would 100% not exist if not for that particular conversation I had with this man. That man was Dota and Die. Dota and Die left the scene for a while, but he's clearly made the decision that he still wants to play, he still wants to win. GHC all day, baby. They're going to take it all.
And
Damn, it's gonna be hard to.
Oh,
You really made that hype hard to follow. I mean, okay. So let's give it to a man. I believe this man can give us one. I think he's kind of already given us an outsider. So I want to give us a dark horse option here, Shaky. Who's your dark horse?
Ooh, I want controversy. Okay. Dude, I'm gonna go with the boys, bro. Just because I just want to see fire, bro. I just want to see I want to see that what was the thing what they call for OG when they made it from the bottom? What was the name they gave it? The sunflower, or whatever. I can't remember the whole thing. I want to come up and I can't remember what it's called. You guys can whatever. But like, I want aura.
Don't discuss the title.
I want a team like Aura to get it.
Oh, you gotta commit. We don't let you off that easy. Come on.
Aura, dude. Aura. I'm gonna get my Aura shirt right now and I'll wear it. Okay.
I mean, you don't have to wear it, but let's go.
Okay.
I'll go get it. This is an entertainment segment. Let's go. What else is doing that? Not a hero. Gotta try.
Hey, it's time, guys. It is time for these XD boys to raise a big title.
Yes.
They have been knocking on that door for the last 3 years, and it's been give and take. And they're taking games off these guys, and then they're beating them, and then they're getting smashed, and then they're coming back and beating Sun 5 again, and then they're coming back and beating Energy again. But when it's counted, they haven't made it happen. And they've been knocking on that door, and it's time. Like, the time is happening now.
Okay.
XD needs to go.
All right, Corny. It sounded like you. It looked like you agreed. I'm not sure if was that an agreement. All right,
he stole my words. This is their time, like you say.
We were brothers in GHC. You betrayed me, not a hero. What is this?
I lost to those guys. I haven't like this XD squad is like Dota and Die has beaten me enough Dota games. Like I rate that squad. I think they're great, but sorry Dota and Die, sorry Aghanim, but like they back from retirement. And Seb's the only one that can make that work.
All right. So the man of his word has returned. I see a nice Aura logo there. What's going on? I see there's something on the top. Do you want to just?
It's just the shirt. It's just the shirt. Dude, I'm just flashing the Aura
brand. No, it's good. You got to show it off.
Stand up and do a 12.
Dude, I gotta say that this is like fire merch. But anyway,
no, it looks good. It looks good.
Aura's gonna come through, right? And I want to see the world burn. I want to see this guy get the championship. And like EGL is like our internationals for South Africa. That's like raising the ages. I want to see these guys in their joggers, like sweaty after best of 5, going to 5, literally played the best game of their entire life and getting a championship. I'm telling you, the scene will go absolutely mad.
I agree.
All the way.
I agree. That would probably be the most amazing outcome, right? It would be proof of concept as well, because if a team does win this from like Aura, we love you, but from the trenches, and they end up being a champion, it's the dream, man. But everyone else, that was a question still at Dark Horse. Do you have a favorite going in more traditional? Like, hey, if it's not going to be the Dark Horse, it's going to be. That's a Jew, Shaky.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, can you just? I completely zoned out there for a second. Sorry.
Okay.
You're safe.
Welcome back.
If
Let's just do it again.
A safe bet, yeah. If it's not Aura.
If it's not a Dark Horse and safe bet, who's it going to be?
I mean, I GHC. I like GHC. Okay, I like the fact that it's been a change. It's an org with a different roster. And a safe bet. Yeah, what a roster. Maybe a little bit of a cheat, but if it was a safe bet, I'm gonna go with Snare. I'll go with GHC. I think that will be pretty cool to see them win it. Yeah.
All right,
tiebreaker.
So we got. Whoa! Come on! You guys know me better than this. Come on, you know me better than this.
Come on, fencing. Let's go.
No. Let's go. So I just want to say that the thing was who's going to knock off Sin 5, right? So I want to make that point. So I can't pick Sin 5. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go with purple. XD, I think it's their time. I think they've been working hard at this. They've been grinding, and I think it'll go. But I do think, if I'm totally honest, I will hedge my bets a little bit further and say that I think that Castaway wants his prize pool, and I think
we're gonna see Energy Esport all online after this podcast practicing. Like, no one, they are gonna be cooking.
All right, good guys. That brings us to the end, and there's nothing left to do, right? So we can call the stream here. We can go home. Nobody's waiting for any other special information, right?
No, you're missing the most important.
No,
part of
there's
this
nothing.
podcast.
Thank you, everyone, so much for joining it. Cheers. All right. So in this hat, we have.
What hat? I can't see that hat. What hat is that?
Yep.
Oh,
I just need to do something so we can flex this properly. If everything falls out of the hat, it's not a hero's fault. There we go. In this hat, we have, of course, got 6 names, and these names are tied to the fates of 6 particular teams, and those teams are, drumroll please, Forsaken Esports, Platoon, Enter the Wukong, Geek Home, Ashy and Friends, and Myrmidon. So we're going to take a little bit of time here. We're going to draw. We're going to. You can see there's little notes in there. There are in fact 6.
You should have put a couple hundred rands in there as well, actually.
Well, what? To what end? what is happening with the 100 rand? I actually happen to have like 100 rand in my wallet right now, so I could do it, but I just don't understand why we would want to do it. You know what's there for you? Where's my wallet? I don't know if this is going to help. I'm not going to draw it. And I'm not going to draw it because I'm going to definitely see it. Okay, I don't even know what wallet it is. Sorry, guys, 100 rand's out. Don't know the purpose, but I can imagine it was there. All right, cool. So exciting part of this. Obviously, you guys love your favorites. So what I want to see in the chat is if you do have a favorite that you want to go through, again, I will mention these names one more time so you know it. Forsaken Esports, Platoon, Enter the Wukong, Geek Home, Ashy and Friends of Myrmidon. If you are supporting someone, if you want to channel your energy into this draw, now is the time to do it in the chat. But let's go ahead. We're going to do one at a time. We'll talk a little bit about teams each time. But who's it going to be? I'm shuffling, and we have a name.
I like a cat. Love it.
And the answer is I want to say Salt. What was that? XD? Was it XD Salt? What was our team's name back? We failed. Yeah. Not here and I were in this one, so we lost. We didn't make it through. Guys want to know? Guys want to know?
Put us on.
I hope I don't have the inverted webcam at this point, because if I do, it's going to be backwards. But anyways, first one is Platoon going to be making it through. So congratulations to them. There were. Yeah, they got a cool 4 on their name, and of course that means 1 slot less to be considered. Platoon, congratulations! You'll be the first team making it through to the main event, guys. It's all about Platoon. What do we know? George, this is your space. Well, tell us a little bit about Platoon.
They have played. Oh, actually, I'm blanking here. I know they played in the qualifiers of season 1. I can't say they played in the qualifiers of season 2. They got very close though in season 1. They were in that one more game they needed to win to actually qualify. So
you know if it's the same squad?
No, not the same squad. Different squad. I think 2 of the same guys.
No,
and they've swapped up their mid to their
want these guys to come back, and and this is not the time. Like, they're in the main event. Like, we're talking about wildcards and upsets. If you're in the main event, it's anyone's game.
Yeah, pretty much. So no, good team. I'm looking forward to seeing where they can go in this tournament. They deserve a chance, which is the whole point of the wildcard series.
In fact, I remind you that the wildcard thing is something that was a little bit new. I mean, we're used to it now, right? Like, wildcard just happens. We get the cool moments, we have the cool podcast, and then we get to draw these names. But it's actually something that was I'm pretty sure it's still unique to EGL. I don't know if anybody else is doing it, but a really cool concept. And we saw this play out really well. I think it was EGL season 2 in particular, where we saw wildcard teams giving hidings to some of the qualified sides. So bear that in mind, that this is not just for fun. George, I know it's the response. Was that a yes or no?
Season 1.
This season 1. Okay. This is why we have you. See, lake of knowledge, ladies and gentlemen.
I just nod for agreement. That's all I'm here for. Yes, good.
Yes.
Listen. Let me explain something. Do you know that if you have anybody here follow K-pop at all? Any K-pop fans? No. What a surprise! My wife definitely is a fan of K-pop, right? And there's a way that this all works. Now we have a K-pop team right here, right? Like this is us. This is our K-pop team. So what you have is you have like the leader, right? You have the talent, you have the rapper, and you have all these different things. But one of the things you also have is you have the, I think they call it the I want to say like the vision or something like that. Somebody who does like K-pop can tell us. It's something called like the vision or something like that. The aesthetic appeal. So that can be you, Shaky, huh?
I'm the mascot. Cool, man. I
Not
like
the
that.
mascot, you're the pretty one, right? Not a hero, don't worry, just flex and you can
Not a year's got definitely the pretty one, dude. What do you mean?
If
I think
somebody's out there winning a ton
Heavy
of money in a betting pool by saying that one day Halbert is going to make a K-pop analogy, I would not have taken that action, but it turns out.
Hey, I'm a man of surprises. You gotta recreate yourself every now and then.
God.
Anyways, cool. So yeah, any biases here, guys? If you have in the chat, send it through. I know no one knows what I'm talking about, but that's fine. It's an inside joke between us and those who know. All right, but we need to know one more thing as well. We need to know one more thing as well, not a hero. We need to know who is going through next. Of course, in the traditional salt hat, we're going to pick one more person. I almost got two, but here we go. One more person. You can see I'm not cheating.
Whoa.
Oh, again, it's XD Salt. Going to
So here we
be
go.
Ash and Friends. Congratulations, the
Let's
second
go.
time. Ash and Friends.
Let's go.
Can we give us some yells in the chat for Ash and Friends, guys?
I'm just happy Ash has friends, man. That's really nice.
We just lost our
I don't know
vision.
where
He's gonna go fetch his Ash and friends shirt.
Yeah. That's not lying around.
I just want you all to know that I'm going to be so angry if he comes back with a shirt like that. Do you know how hard I had to work to get merch?
Oh, he changed.
Oh, wait, he just went back to his.
Sorry, no, I just quickly had
Why
to-
are you changing off camera though?
Huh? No, I'm not gonna show
It's supposed to be
my
the
video.
vision. You know?
No.
You the
Come on,
vision.
we've all seen those gym photos. Come on.
No, you have to pay Prime. Yeah, that's a
Only
lot of
fans-
money. dude.
Expensive.
Shaky fans win.
Huh?
Shaky fans win.
fans-
I'm ready.
A few weeks now.
Would anyone like to weigh in on our friends Ash and Friends? Other than I'm glad that Ash has friends. Of course, Lake of Knowledge. Let's go.
No, they've played in a few tournaments. They're just a group of lads. I spoke to him when they lost in the round 2, which is obviously, it still means they're a wildcard team, but they didn't directly qualify. I spoke to the guys and said, hey, don't forget, you're still a wildcard team. And they're like, yeah, we know. We're just a bunch of guys who want to have fun, who want to play. They happen to be good players as well, but
You know,
they
like
want
that,
to enjoy.
that is what we need. Like,
Yeah.
guys,
Just
this,
want
is,
to play.
this is a free to enter tournament for 50,000 rand.
Yep.
Like, get
I
your
mean-
mates and come play. Like,
We're not a hero. We also need people like Corny to be out here, to carry the arcade knowledge of the scene when we're aging out. So shout out to him.
My Excel sheet is getting way too big, guys. I need to say.
I'm sorry for laughing during that scene. I just had to say that, like, there's a little bit of a delay here, right? But Castaway just said in chat, it's the visual, Shaky. And I love the fact that he's outed himself. One of us, huh? Blackpink in your area, Castaway? All right. Let's go next.
Let's go.
Oh God. Sorry, I must not look into the hat, right? Like, if I look into the hat, then it could be perceived as...
you should throw them in the air and then catch one.
Gallum. Mm-mm.
Yeah, no.
Next one.
And, oh well, I must say, I think that this team has one of the single best names in our scene. So let's, before I reveal this, does anyone have a little guess of what our next one is? One of the best names in our scene.
It has to be Meme Squadron then, right?
Into the Wukong.
Yeah,
Anyone else want to win? We've got two Into the Weekends. What is it?
Myrmidons?
Myrmidons, and what do you say, Snare?
Knowing Halbert is probably going to be Enter the Wukong, but I would say Meme Squadron is a really good name, but it's probably going to be Enter the Wukong.
Ladies and gentlemen, Enter the Wukong. Congratulations. You are also making it through. And I'll start. You guys got one of the best names. Like, I always think about it because it's like that moment where you see that monkey gun low HP. Like, do you enter the Wukong? Do you? You take that risk? How lined up is that Bounder strike? Huh? How many creeps in the way?
No,
All right.
but Brian Adams and the lads been playing a while. They've stuck together quite well, I believe.
Brian Adams.
Brian Adams.
Yeah.
You call them Brian Adams. Like, that's not his name.
Brian
Right?
Adams.
I'm lost.
Damn it, man. Anyway,
His name is Brian. Like, you're going to have a Bri Adams.
Brian Adams. Anyway, next.
Yeah,
So, of course, next is actually last.
Yes.
Finale.
So let's see who got left here. Let me go through this list again. So
Wait, I'll tell you.
okay.
Say wealth of knowledge. Let me test. It is Myrmidons,
Yeah.
Geek Home, and
Yeah.
Forsaken Esports.
Look at you, huh? Redemption are complete.
It's almost
ladies
as
and
if I've been
gentlemen.
looking at this stuff for 2 weeks straight.
All right, so again, Forsaken Esports, Geek Home, and Myrmidons. One of these teams will be continuing their journey here at EGL on Season 3. One and only one. And the other two we will say goodbye to. And of course, I want you to take a moment to consider how important that actually is. These teams have all put in a huge amount of effort. They've played their hearts out. They have committed to making it to this point. And for two of those sides, fortunately, that will not be their fate. And for one, they get to continue their journey, and perhaps, who knows? Who knows? Maybe they are our aura dark horse. Maybe it's this team that goes all the way, or simply sets themselves up for a little bit of legacy, and that's an important thing. So I want to say before I draw this last one that we spoke about it earlier. This is about building a legacy, and it matters. It really matters to say, I was there, and it really hurts to say, almost. Ladies and gentlemen, the last team making it in gonna be. I'm not gonna mess around with this one. Ladies and gentlemen, the last team making it in. Myrmidons, congratulations
Hey,
and welcome
let's go.
to
There we
EGL.
go.
And they're already in
Season 3
chat. Even better.
main event.
Nice, boys.
All right, and of course, we have to say goodbye to Geek Home as well as Forsaken Esports. My heart does go out to them. It isn't a great feeling, and we know that the wild cards are going to be heartbreaking for some. But at the same time, I think that we can all take a moment to appreciate the sides that have made it through and know that they are going to give us a hell of a show in the next little while. Guys, we've kept you here much later than we intended to, and I think it was great. I love the fact that we've had engagement from our viewers. I love the fact that everyone here today has been so on point, and I love the fact that even in the darkness, Not a Hero has given us some great knowledge bombs about the net. George recovered. We identified that Shaky is our visual, and of course, Snare has, as always, been a great and wonderful addition to any team, including our humble South African scene as he continues on his own mission to, put us on the map for real. All right, with that said, I think it's time to say our goodbyes. Let's go ahead and do just that. We'll start off with you, Snare. Last thoughts, last moments to wrap things up here, and then we'll go through the other guys as well, of course.
Don't play Morphling, Hero sucks. No, I'm kidding. Honestly, real thing is that, we came up from the scene. I do feel bad sometimes that I'm not as involved in the local scene as I used to be, but it's not because I've left Dota entirely, still just involved in the situation. And we didn't really get to touch on it really, but I've often thought about like how many people have fallen off trying to make it internationally, either as talent, either as a player, either in production, whatever the case might be. And I just want to encourage everybody that it is actually possible that it can become more than just a hobby. That it's just not just a fun thing that you do every now and then. It can actually come to define your life in a positive way. So keep at it, keep the hustle going. There is legitimate light at the end of the tunnel. So I'll see you on the other side of that light, hopefully.
Look, we'll say you spend as much time as you need there, because as long as you name drop at least one of us four, we'll be happy with it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Please.
Do
The
that.
darkness. The darkness.
No, let's go. Like I'll speak up before you exit.
You want to go last? Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Right. In that case, who's next? It's Corny. Corny. Last thoughts.
If you're playing Sin 5, ban Tree, ban Earth Spirit, and then otherwise, good luck.
Good. All right.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, good luck XD. They're the ones you think are going to take it. So,
Yes, no,
let's
XD
get
going to win this. I'm confident this time. They're going to make it. But that's what I'm saying. Playing Sin 5, ban the heroes.
I say let it happen. You're not a hero.
Yeah, don't
Just
There's
like
so many
let
bans.
the world burn.
Dawnbreaker
This is
or
the
like
problem.
Tiny or like
Nope.
nah, I don't know.
just them.
You know what helps, Tony? You know what helps? Is that GHC, the winning team, will ban Earth Spirit, and then they can pick Tree and Protector, and that's how they're going to win.
There we go. Yep, that's it.
Mr. Visual, what's your final thoughts to wrap things up?
I just think that I want to just touch up again about how amazing experience this is going to be. This is going to be the third time coming. It's going to be insane. And this is, I mean, yeah, there's nothing bigger right now than this. And to be a South African taking part in this South African tournament, casted, presented, hosted, sponsored by South Africans, is going to be mega. It's gonna absolutely be mega. And every single year it gets bigger. And I really hope that one day I can fly out to South Africa again and we do a main event, probably next year, maybe the year after. I don't know what EGL's plans are, but that main event is going to be absolutely insane. So from my side, I want to just send a shout out to EGL itself, just for allowing me the opportunity to be a part of all you absolutely talented casters and presenters and admins. It's really an absolute blessing to be able to be here with you guys. So yeah, just a big shout out to EGL.
Ditto.
That's awesome. Before we go not here, Sneh, what was the team you were talking about earlier? The one that had coffee after going to the event that they grinded for?
Oh yeah,
They are
I wanna know
called
that.
I Ate No Snitch.
It was worth a try, guys. Not a hero. Final thoughts. Let's give it that last one before we send it home.
2 points before I hand it back to you. There's 50k, biggest tournaments in SA, the Proving Grounds, stacked rosters. Like, this is going to be the most competitive Dota event we've had in a long time. So look out on Twitter, look out on like the pages, Facebook pages, where the games are going to be like announced. Follow them, watch them, because if you don't, you're going to miss out.
Big time.
And it's 50k. And then the last
50K.
point, Halbert is unfortunately leaving us to the overseas pastures. He's got a massive opportunity with Ubisoft. And I personally just want to say thank you to everything that you've done in our Dota scene. Like, you've been, when I was a player, you were a massive like part of that journey. Then when I joined the casting team, like, you've been a helping hand and you've been an inspiration to us all. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Shout out.
Thank-
Dylan,
no,
shout out.
Can't say enough. There's too many
Second
words,
that.
so we won't say
Okay.
anything. Just
Second,
thank
third,
you.
fourth, fifth. That's definitely a thing. Yeah.
Do you give a round of applause? I don't know if the mics are going to pick it up, but yeah, a round of applause.
And you better come back with that Ubisoft sponsor money, fam.
Yeah,
my
man. As what did you say
Hashtag
to
no lag.
Sneh?
Hashtag no lag.
As long as what did you tell Sneh? As long as one of us mentioned, same with you. Same thing
Yep.
with you, dude. I think we're expecting those key cards, or those game keys or whatever. Something. Afslag percentage something, dude.
Well, thank you, guys. It means a lot. And I fortunately have one more little run with the South African Dota scene, and of course it'll be this event here. It's going to be a tough pill to swallow, but let's enjoy one last one. And really, I hope that we can make this a truly special event. And you know what the great news is? I feel so confident that this is the right one. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been your kickoff show for EGL 1 Season 3. It's gonna be so damn good, and we'll see you for some fantastic Dota, some fantastic upsets, and memories that we will remember forever. Of course, congratulations to the wildcard teams, and for the qualifiers and the invited sides. We'll see you soon. But for now, stick around. We've got some more Dota 2 action coming to you very, very soon. Goodbye!